Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls 3 PvP and another weapon showcase. This time we are using the Splitleaf Greatsword, and this is a weapon I can see becoming extremely popular very quickly. It has a really cool moveset, it's got some good damage, it can be infused, it can be buffed. Overall it's a great weapon and I can see a lot of people taking a liking to it. So enough on that, let's get started with the basics. This weapon requires 26 strength and 16 dexterity in order to wield. It has a C scaling in strength and a D scaling in dexterity, but if you infuse it with heavy, it actually gets an S scaling in strength, so this thing is amazing for strength builds. Yeah, it's just kind of awesome. The physical base damage on the weapon is 264, and the skill is Wind Wheel. And with that, well, it's a buff. The more you spin, the more damage you do. I'm honestly not a big fan of this buff though, in all honesty. I really don't like it, because I feel like it doesn't really do too much for you. The hyper armor on the buff itself, on the skill itself, is decent, but the issue lies in the fact that you can just stay back when someone's doing that skill and snipe them, throw things at them. There's nothing they'll be able to do to counter it. So it's like you're asking to be hit, in a way. And I'm not the biggest fan of that. I personally, when I'm using the weapon, prefer to use the attack immediately instead of continuing to charge the attack, charge the skill. I just find that's a little bit more of a successful way of doing things. Just my opinion on the matter. And I'm sure if you were doing a gank of any kind with this thing, you had multiple people using it, you got someone trapped between multiple people spinning around with this thing, that could lead to some potentially interesting situations. But it is what it is. So, moving on from there, the pros of the weapon. It's a halberd class weapon. Despite being called a greatsword, it is a halberd class weapon, so it's got a few typical things going for it. It's got long reach, solid damage, and that's really all that halberds have going for them. Hyper armor wise, they're not the greatest, but they're not the worst. It's just sort of dead set in the middle on that. And overall, this is probably one of the better strength based halberds. Really it's either this or Gundyrs. There's really not much else that can compete with it. The Black Knight, I suppose, but this one's buffable as well as being infusible, so it's kind of hard to go wrong. And then weight-wise, it's actually on the lighter side as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I actually don't recall for certain, so don't quote me on that one. Overall, it's just a really good weapon. Like, it's got a lot of really cool stuff going for it. I don't find the skill to be the most useful thing, but it's not bad. As far as the cons of the weapon are concerned, it's a little slow, it's a typical halberd con, and the hyper armor, like I said, on certain things is not the greatest. Your one-handed moveset leaves a little bit to be desired when hyper armor is concerned. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot else going on with this thing. It's just a straightforward weapon, which is not a bad thing to have. It's something that people are used to, it's something they're comfortable with, and the adjustment to using the skill on this one shouldn't be as huge of an adjustment as switching to an entirely new weapon type. So if you want a little bit of variety but not too much, well, this is a good choice. That said, it's really straightforward. I don't have much else to say on this thing. It is what it is. So this is the last fight. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Found it helpful in one way or another. I know it's a little bit short, but I don't really have anything else to say, so take it or leave it, guys. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.